Hello and happy 2025, everybody. It's been a while since we've done these live streams, so it's kind of glad to be back. Be back with you guys and have all kinds of stuff we can talk about this year. So we're going to try to keep these around the same time every week. So Thursdays at 6:30 Pacific Standard Time here on the Hombre channel, the Tequila Hombre channel. Now, I also have another channel it's called the Hombre Cave, and if you haven't gone and subscribed to that, do that, because I talk about some other things over there that are tequila related, but also some of the other things that I'm getting involved with to learn more about tequila, as well as we're going to do some stogie reviews and stuff like that. And then for those of you that aren't members of the TBAC and don't follow me that closely, I've gotten into making wine, and the reason why I did that was because tequila itself, before it was called tequila, it was called vino de mezcal, wine of the mezcal. And the reason why, and I've kind of looked into this, is the makeup of wine must and tequila mosto are practically identical. So I figured in order for me to get a better idea when I go work on special projects with the producers and stuff, that I should learn winemaking. So I've actually gone out and learned how to make wine and done it from grapes. So there's some videos up on the Hombre Cave channel. I'll be harvesting grapes and then processing them, crushing them and fermenting and doing the whole process and pressing and learning about fermentation as well. Especially, of wine must. I was a national champion home brewer before, so I knew about beer and grain-based must, but the fruit-based, the mosto that's used for tequila as well as for wine is completely different. So I was able to learn a lot, and which is going to help me with working on some of the special batches we get planned and some of the projects that I want to do with some of the producers in Mexico. So it should be some interesting content for you. And then I think I'm going to be even doing, I've really kind of fallen in love with red wines. And so I might even do some red wine reviews and stuff on there. Some stuff that I've been trying because I've been really enjoying the complex flavor profile of red wine. And one thing I'm finding out too, that exposing yourself to stuff like red wine and cigars and other things too, helps you actually improve your palate and help your palate grow. And I was talking to somebody about this the other day, and they were like, yeah, absolutely. And I was even talking to a tequila producer who's big into wine as well, and he agreed with me and said, yeah, he believes it's the same thing too, because he actually smokes cigars and he enjoys complex red wines, and he thinks that his exposure to those too has also helped him with improving his tequila palate so he can produce better tequilas and stuff. So it was kind of interesting learning that stuff. So lots of interesting content that's going to be coming up. We're going to be doing some more aging stuff too. So make sure if you're not following me on Instagram, you're doing that as well. But we'll do some aging stuff here as well. So home aging a Blanco into a Repo and Añejo or extra Añejo yourself. And we'll do some more projects, and then some of the members of the Tequila Barrel and Agave Collective have sent me samples, and so I'll do some live tastings of those too and talk about them, which should be fun. So we have an aging on the Tequila Barrel and Agave Collective Discord group. We actually have an aging channel where people can share their aging projects that they're working on. You talk about what they're doing, and some people have been doing some really interesting projects on there, so I'm excited to try the ones that, for those of you that sent me your projects, I am interested in tasting them and telling about them. Sorry I haven't gotten to it sooner. Things have been a little crazy. So look for stuff like that coming up, content coming up on Instagram as well. And then one of the things I thought I'd really kind of do too is I've got some interesting bottles in here. So on Instagram, and I might even do them as YouTube Reels. So make sure if you're not subscribed here, you subscribe. And you also follow on Instagram. But I'm going to start pulling some of the old bottles that I have out and kind of doing a what's this bottle type of segment and talk about some of the old bottles that I have and some of the the stories behind them and stuff like that, because I've got some interesting stuff in the collection back here that some of you might want to learn about. that came from some of the producers that you know so well. Okay, so talking about, well, first of all, I want to bring one other thing up. The G4108 is now, the XM it's now out, so I'm sure you're seeing it everywhere. Ferment and Still, the store that I affiliate with, has gotten some in, and we kind of decided to do something different because I always get people that say, hey, does Ferment still have this? Because I wanted to get some, but I can't get it. And and so we wanted to give everybody a chance and an opportunity to get it. And so it's like, it's not sold out right away. People don't hoard them all. You know, people don't buy like 6 bottles or 5 bottles at a time, and we don't limit it to one, and then they end up putting like 3 or 4 orders in and stocking up on it. So instead, to make it more fair, we decided we're going to take the XM bottles and mix them in with the regular 108 proof bottles, because it's the same SKU. They didn't assign it a different item number or anything like that. It's the same as the G4108, so it's easier on the computer system as well. But what happens is we mix it in with the rest of the product, the rest of the G4108. So then when you buy it, you don't know if you're going to be getting the XM bottle or regular bottle, but you'll just know you're getting a really nice bottle of G4108 proof Blanco anyways. And that way, everybody that buys a bottle has a chance of it showing up and being the XM bottle, which I thought's really cool, instead of jacking up the price on it. And this way too, you support the brand. We support G4, and you end up getting more amazing G4 108 proof Blanco anyways. It's no matter what, bottle you get, it's great stuff. I love G4 108 proof. So whether you get that or you get the XM, you're getting a really good bottle. So if you're really interested in trying to get the XM, it's worth a shot to buy a bottle or 2 or 3. And the more you buy, the better your chances. 1 out of every 3 bottles is the XM in there. So there's a good chance you could end up getting the XM. So if you haven't been able to find it and don't want to pay the higher prices for it, we're charging the regular price of G4108 for it. So we're not jacking up the price on it either. Instead, just buy a bottle of G4108 and you have the opportunity, the chance of it showing up and being the XM version of G4108. So we thought we'd do this. The brands actually kind of like the idea. They're like, yeah, that sounds like really great stuff, because then it gives everybody a chance to get it. You don't know if you're going to get it or not, but you're buying G4108 anyway, so the chance you have a chance. So I thought that was really cool. All right, so let's check in with some of our subscribers. Manuel Hernandez, hola, bienvenido, welcome, glad you can make it. Chris Beraldi, you've been getting into wine lately yourself. Old World Reds, your go-to, especially Redberg. Yes, yeah, there's a lot of good reds. One of the ones that I've just found that I really like and was really impressed with is a rare grape. And if you can find it there where you're in Massachusetts, if you can find it there, there's only 70 acres of it planted in Napa Valley. So it's kind of hard to find it, but it's called Charbono. And I found a couple wineries that make it, and I got a bottle of it, and I really liked it. So I ended up buying a couple more bottles of it. But the flavor profile of it is really complex and rich, and it's got a lot of nuances and stuff to it that I really like. So if you haven't checked that out, check out Charbono. It's Charbono, Chris, and see if you can get one of those and try it. Let me know what you think. Hey, El Mexico, bienvenido, welcome. Glad you can make it. Hey, Curtis. Hola. Hello, how you doing? Bienvenido, welcome. Glad you can make it here to the show. Okay, so let's talk about some things. First of all, some of these guys here are already members of the Tequila Barrel and Agave Collective, but I wanted to talk about that group real quickly because we got some really special stuff coming in. We just had the Santo Fino Extra Añejo single barrel come in. We're the only ones in the world getting the Santo Fino Extra Añejo. No one else is going to get it. They don't even know if they're going to do an Extra Añejo down the line yet. There's a possibility they will, But we have a single barrel that I hand selected. They only had 2 barrels that they sent me, and one of them wasn't good, and the other one I really liked a lot, and so that's the one we selected. So by joining the Tequila Barrel and Agave Collective, not only do you get access to a really great community of people from all over the United States, we got over 120 people in the group, all over the United States. They're all over the place. But not only do you get that, but you also get access to these special buys that I do, and then when there's allocated bottles, I try to get the members the information on them first, so they can get in and get them before the general public is notified of them. And sometimes we even keep them in the exclusive area for the members. And it's just kind of my way of saying thank you for joining this community, because the community supports what I do. It's $10 a month to be a member, which is nothing. I try to give you a lot of benefits to being a member of the group, and people share their thoughts on things, and they post, the reviews, and they post blind stuff, and they post all kinds of things and share their information with each other. And it's a really fun community with a lot of great people that are members. I really appreciate all of them. And then it's a lot of fun. So if you haven't joined it, the link is in the description below. Come join us. It's $10 a month. It's nothing. Maybe a $1.50 a month it cost you. And with the way Starbucks has gotten expensive these days. And you get access to all this stuff, and you get all these perks that we try to give you, and it's a lot of group's a lot of fun. The only thing is that when you join it, you have to use the Discord app or Discord site and check in with it, because all the information that I post about the buys that we're doing, even special things that I'm doing here on the channel, like all the members knew about this live stream today. They knew about it earlier because I posted about it. And then you also get access to me. So if you have questions about something, everybody does it. They'll just tag me in a post and ask me a question in one of the channels that has the topics for it. And there's we talk about all kinds of agave spirits on there. There's all kinds of topics to choose from. Tag me and I'll respond back. And you get really good access to me and to the producers as well. Because if I don't know the answer, I'll ask them and get the answer back to you, as well as from the brands too. Some people ask me questions like, hey, do you know if this is coming out? I'll message the brand and I'll find out, and I'll respond back to them and say, yeah, it's coming out they said it should be here this time, and so on. So we have the Santa Fino Extra Añejo that's just landed, that a lot of members are already buying. And it's going to be really good. They're only one in the world. We're the only ones in the world getting it. So it's an exclusive bottle that if you're a collector and stuff, no one else is. They're going to go, where did you get that? What is that all about? Sammy Hagar and Guy Fieri don't even have bottles of this. So I told them that I would buy a couple bottles and send them to them. And they I'm actually floating too that those members that are buying bottles, I'm going to try to arrange for a meet and greet with them where they'll sign the bottles for us. So that's one of the things I'm going to kind of talk and see if I can arrange to do sometime. So make sure if you buy a bottle, you buy a couple or 3 and save one. And then we'll try to arrange to have an autograph session where they'll autograph the bottles for us, which I thought would be kind of cool. But the tequila itself is really good. And the pricing on it for an extra añejo, $105.99 is a really good deal on it. We got good pricing on it. So that one's going to be great. We also have some other barrels coming in. We have a Carrera Double Wood Añejo, which is fantastic. It's really good. Añejo, it's high proof too. So it's going to be cast strength. They had 5 barrels of this made, and I selected the best barrel for the Tequila Barrel and Agave Collective. That stuff's going to be really good. It's in process right now. It's been in process for a while, so I'm just waiting. Supposedly they're supposed to be shipping it out sometime within the next couple of weeks. So I'm waiting on some more clarity on when that's going to be coming in for sure. And we also have a Don Abraham cast strength añejo. We're the only ones in the world getting that as well. There's only 1 barrel of that, and that's what we're getting. I selected this when I was with Abraham and his father, Alvaro Montes, when I was in No, not Tatinoku. I can't remember the name of it. But when I was with them at the distillery and saw La Roca and what's the name of the damn place? I'll remember it. When I was with them in La Roca and Tequila Americas, we were in Tequila Americas. We went into the barrel facility, and they're like, "Hey, you want to try some stuff?" And so I said, "Yeah." So I tried a couple of barrels. I tried 3 or 4 barrels, and then when I tried this one, I was like, "Oh my god, this is so good! Can we do it as a single barrel?" And they looked and said, "I don't know if we can do a single." I said, "Well, I can arrange with the distributor." So the importer and distributor, they'd bring it in, and he's like, "If you can arrange it, okay, yeah, we'll pull it." So, and I go, I want it cask strength. I don't want this diluted down." And they said, "All right, we'll see what we can do." So then I connected with the importer and the distributor and talked to them, and they said, "Yeah, let's do it. Sounds exciting." They were planning on doing single barrel reposados sometime this year, starting this year, but not añejos and not at cask strength. So we'll be the only ones getting something like this. And this Dodd and Abraham, it was a Woodford Reserve barrel, and it was actually amazing. It was one of the better barrels that I've ever tasted out of a single barrel before. So I was really excited about that one. It's going to be really good. And pricing's going to be pretty moderate on it too. So that's another thing that's coming in for the Tequila Barrel and Agave Collective. That's going to be really good as well. We're also working on a Cascaween single barrel for next year, but I'll be going in this year to select the barrel. So that should be really good. And I'll be meeting. I just messaged Salvador today, and I'm finding out when they're going to have barrels ready for selecting, and then I'll fly out to Mexico and do a single barrel selection with them there. And then we just got word out today that we're doing an El Tesoro single barrel reposado. They're sending me the sample kit here, so I'll do a live stream on that one here coming up. So we have that coming up too. And then I've got this, which I've been sitting on for a while. So, and the poor guy's been bothering me because I've like neglected to do this yet. But I'm going to set up a live stream for this too. Tequila Partida sent me a single barrel selection kit. So I got all the information on the barrels, and then they sent me all these samples that I need to taste through. So I'm going to look at doing a single barrel with them. These are only 80 proof, 40%. But they have all these different barrels. This is the first time they've done a single barrel. And so I'm interested to see if the single barrel stuff, supposedly they've like improved what they're doing. So I'm going to see if they're any good. And if so, then we're going to, we'll select a Partida single barrel if there's one that's really stands out. Because all these barrels, I don't select a barrel if none of the samples are good, and none of them are, I think, worthy of me standing behind. We won't select. We will just pass on the barrel. And we've done that before. We also have a Ray Saul 20th anniversary barrel on the way. I did a single barrel selection into that, and it was really good. We're going to get a really good single barrel of Ray Saul. So that's coming. That's on the way. I've already selected it, and Casa San Matias is in the process of getting that ready for us. That's going to be really amazing as well. And then we also have the San Matias Grand Reserva. We have 2 barrels that are on ferment and still right now that we opened up for everybody because the group pretty much bought all they wanted. And so we opened it up to the public. And it's been selling pretty good. And those people that have picked up a bottle, either barrel 1 or barrel 2, are realizing that it's not your standard San Matias Grand Reservas. It is. I have a really good relationship with San Matias. They're like my second home in Mexico. I know the distillery really well. I know Carmen Villarreal really well. I know a lot of people there really well. And they arranged for me to get some special barrels when I did the barrel selection on that. And so these barrels are not your standard San Matias Grand Reserva barrels. The ones that we have are absolutely amazing, and normally would sell for a lot more than $58.99 a bottle. So if you haven't tried that, go grab some and try them, and let me know what you think. Because everyone that's tried it came back and said, "Holy, that is not a regular San Matias marijuana." No, it's not. It's not. And so that turned out it's great stuff. So I ended up buying more bottles too. We also have the Viva Mexico High Proof, which is an amazing high proof Blanco. You know, I know people go like, "Oh, here, let's do the voice." We have to do the voice for it.
Yeah, you just say that because you sell it and you just want to make money on it. So anything you sell, you say it's really good, but we know really it's not. It's just, so we're not going to buy it just because, you know, you say it's good because you sell it and blah, blah, blah.
No, that's not true. It's not true. The only reason why I have it and got it for Ferment and Still was because it was exceptional. And of course, the Viva Mexico High Proof was a project, a experiment that Sergio Cruz did, that I tasted and said I wanted to buy the whole thing. And everyone that's tried it so far has come back and said, "Oh my God, yeah, that is really good. So easy to drink. I drank half a bottle already." It's really good. It's a really good, amazing high proof Blanco. If you haven't picked up a bottle, do yourself a favor, pick it up before it's all gone. Once it's gone, it's gone. They're not making any more. This is not a standard thing. This was just an experimental project that they did. They were like, okay, originally they were going to keep it at the distillery and give it to people to try, but I convinced them to let me bring it into to the United States and offer it on Ferment and Still. And so they agreed. And, you know, Sergio Vivanco, Sergio Cruz are good friends of mine. We call ourselves the Trace Tequila Amigos. I know them really well. They're like my brothers. So I was able to do this with them, and I was glad to bring it to you. Don't pass on it. Don't let other people dictate whether you get to try this amazing high proof Blanco or not. Just try it. Everyone that's tried it so far has come back and said amazing and bought more. They keep buying more. So if it wasn't good, they wouldn't be buying more, and they'd probably be blasting me all over social media, but they're not, because it's really, really good. And of course, we still have the Carrera 54, the batch 1. Now, yeah, people are trying the other stuff out there, but it's not the same as the batch 1. And the reason why is batch 1 sat in a stainless steel tank for 2 years before it was bottled. So it had a lot of chance to meld and develop its flavor profile. It's not the same thing. That brings up another topic that I want to talk about too. But if you haven't tried the batch 1 from Ferment and Still of Carrera 54, if you tried it from another store, great. But if you haven't tried batch 1 from Ferment and Still, pick up a bottle or two and try it against the other stuff you got at the other store. I did that with a store here, where I brought one of the bottles that we had, and we pulled the bottle out of their inventory, we put it down, and me and the store owner tasted it side by side. And he looks at me and goes, "Yeah, your batch is way better." And I went, "Absolutely." It had 2 years to sit in stainless steel tank and meld and create a beautiful flavor profile. Plus, not every batch of tequila for a brand is going to taste the same. It's not like the ingredients stay the same and everything stays the same. Each batch is going to be different. So we had a really good batch. So when you talk about something too, like for example, somebody today said on the 108 proof I saw on the Discord, somebody said, "Yeah, this has got a sweeter nose than the XM batch has got a sweeter nose than the 108 proof, the regular 108 proof." It's like, well, what batch of the regular 108 proof are you comparing it against? Because you could try 4 different batches, 5 different batches, 8 different 10 different batches of the 108 proof Blanco from G4. And every single one of them is going to have a different nose and a different flavor profile, because that's the nature of the beast with tequila. And that's one of the things that Fortaleza kind of really capitalized on with the lote numbers on the back, right? Lote 42A, lote this, lote that. You find a lote that's really good, you go and you buy more of those bottles that have that good lote. But every lote's not going to taste the same. It's the same with every tequila, except for ones that use additives. That's where additives come in. Additives can make every single bottle, no matter what, taste the same because they're manipulated in the lab that way. But otherwise, each batch is going to be different. So if you try something from a bottle, from a brand, write down the batch number on the back, and don't give up on the brand quite, because you could have just had a batch that just doesn't agree with you. I've sat down, I've had Viva Mexico batches where I'm like, okay, this is okay. But then I try another one and go, oh, this one's really good. So it depends too on what time of year they fermented, what kind of yeast was around, what the agave where the agave came from. You're dealing with terroir. It's like wine. We talked about wine, right? Wine's the same way. You buy a bottle of 2022 Cabernet Sauvignon and you buy a bottle of 2020 Cabernet Sauvignon, they're going to taste completely different from the same winery, because the crops were different. The grapes were different. They came from different areas, different terroir. They experienced different things during the seasons and created different flavor profile. So it's the same with wine. Wine and tequila are practically identical in areas like this, where just because it came from the same winery and they produced it using the same yeast and stuff doesn't mean it's going to taste the same, because there's a lot of different things that are affected with terroir and with the quality of the grapes and where the grapes came from and stuff like that for wine. It's the same with tequila, with the agave. They have to rotate fields every 6 to 8 years. They're coming from different fields. They're coming from different areas. They do it at different times of the year. So one Blanco batch could be made in February when it's colder, and so will have a different flavor profile because of the way it ferments, versus one that's made in June when it's hot, or August when it's hot there in Mexico. So try different. And then write down the batch numbers and write down the date, because sometimes you can have different batch numbers with the same date, because that just means it's one single batch that's bottled in 2 different batches, bottled in 2 different lote numbers. So like for the Carrera 54 that we have it ferment and still, there's probably 5 or 6 different batch numbers, because it's 2,000 bottles the size of the batch. We're down to the last 200. So we sold that many bottles of it. It's so popular. People keep coming back and buying 3 or 4 or 5, 6 bottles at a time. So we're down to the last, I think we're under 200 now. We're like 150 bottles left or something like that of the Carrera 54, which we started with 2,150, I think. So we sold a lot of bottles of it within a year and a half. So if you haven't tried it, try it. Viva Mexico wasn't that big. It's only 528 bottles, and we're down to 200 now. So 300 bottles of it sold last year, which is a lot of bottles to sell. But people are coming back and buying more, so I know it's going to sell out. So if you haven't grabbed any, grab some and stock up on it, because you're not going to see it again. I buy 6 bottles at a time. And when I'm down to 3 bottles, I'll buy 6 more, just because I want to keep them so I can go back and try it later and have some in my collection to drink later. So... But that's some of the great stuff that's coming up with the Tequila Barrel and Agave Collective. And then you get this access to this amazing community with all these different channels for information. We talk about añejos, repos, blancos, high proof blancos, raicillas, sotos, mezcals, all the different channels of stuff, aging, cigars and tequila. We have all different channel topics that you can get in and talk about and share information about, and we even have a big section that goes with all the states on it, and you can actually go in and list what states you've been to, and then what bars and restaurants have good tequila selections. So when you're going to travel somewhere, you can go to that state, look up and see what places people recommend to go to, and then, try to set them up in your trip agenda to go visit them. They have some good agave spirits. And some people will say, hey, I'm traveling. They'll post in one of those states, I'm traveling this area next week. Anybody recommend anything? And people will chime in and give you suggestions of place to go. So it's a really great community. So I highly recommend joining. It's $10 a month. It's nothing. But it also helps support what I do here since I don't charge brands for reviews. I keep things unbiased that way, but it allows me to go and do these barrel buys. And so some people say, well, what does ferment and still and the barrel buys and stuff do? Well, what it does is it allows us, when we do these barrel buys, when people buy them all, like, for example, all the members of the Tequila Barrel and Agave Collective buy them all, we try to make enough money from it that we can use that money to buy another barrel and support another brand. And keep supporting the brands that are doing it right, so we can bring you guys some really interesting, cool things that you can't walk into any old liquor store and buy. So that's what we do. That's why we do it. What we do. Thanks for the update, Hombre. Looking forward to these. Awesome. I'm glad you're looking forward to it. Let me see. I think we were down lower before. I feel. Hey, Kenneth Ray. Hola. Bienvenido. Any word on Escuda Aguirre? No, I don't think they're going to be doing anymore, honestly. I'd be surprised if they did anymore. Those bottles were like from 2005, 2007 or something. When I originally did the review for it, Sergio Cruz was like, that stuff's still around? It's been so long since I made any of that stuff. So I think he's going to be done. It took him forever to sell it all. So I wouldn't bank on it. If there's any Blanco left, I'd buy what you want quick before it's gone for good. I doubt there's going to be more. Just personally, I don't think so. I feel bad for not getting the XM108 when I had the chance. What do you mean not getting it? It's still available. Why do you feel bad? Just buy a bottle of G4108 on Ferment and Still, and you have a chance of getting one. I explained that in the beginning. Buy a bottle of G4108 on Ferment and Still. There's 30 bottles of XM mixed into it, so you have a chance of getting one. There's no guarantees, but you have a chance of getting one just by buying a bottle of G4108. So, but the chances are pretty good. So, support the brand, and you could end up with one. It's that easy. And we're not jacking the price up on it. It's just the regular standard price. I think it's $72.99. I think it's the retail price on it. It's the regular price. So we're not charging $150 for it, $140 or whatever people are charging for it. And you don't have to worry about hoarding. It's all gone. There's still bottles left. Was that I would like to say every tequila you've recommended all been great stuff. Keep up the awesome work. Well, thank you, Manuel. I'm glad you're enjoying it. As if you didn't, I wouldn't be doing it anymore. So I do this for you guys. I do it so I can bring you great stuff. I'm trying great stuff all the time when I'm in Mexico, sitting with the producers and stuff. They're pulling special batches out and having me try stuff all the time. I have really good relationships with a lot of these producers. I'm going to start bringing some of them on here for doing more interviews. I haven't done an interview in a while. But so far, the people I've got lined up, I've got all kinds of people lined up. We'll bring Jimmy Souza on. He's agreed to come on. We'll bring Ileana Partida on. She's agreed to come on. We'll bring a bunch of people on. Tony Sayas says he'll come on anytime. From El Tequileño, he's a friend of mine. I already had Sergio Vivanco and Sergio Cruz on when we were bringing in the Viva Mexico High Proof. The Camarenas I could bring on anytime. So make sure if you're not subscribed. So I'll bring some of these guys on. We'll do interviews with them, talk about some of the new projects and stuff like that. So but I try to, when I pick these barrels and bring these batches and stuff in, I try to find stuff that's exceptional, that's really good, and that kind of fits what I'm looking for. Now, what I look for is honoring the agave, right? I want a lot of rich agave notes in it. So I look for that. And then for barrels, I look for a lot of agave and also a nice barrel presence, that really accents the agave, but also gives you a nice barrel presence. And that's the kind of things I look for in the barrels. And if I don't find it in the barrels, I pass on them. So you can see with the Partita, if it doesn't fit the bill with the Partita barrels there, I might pass on them. So I've got to taste through them and see what they're tasting like now. The Carrera is really good. The double barrel, double wood, single barrel, cask strength añejo. It's so good. You guys, if you like French oak, you're gonna love that one. It is so good. And that was finished in Napa Cabernet barrel. So the wine aspect of it really adds a complexity and stuff to it. So really good. Who else? Don Abraham, the Woodford Reserve barrel was super good. Really, really good. That one's going to be super special too. I'm looking forward to that. And then, of course, the Raysal single barrel. There was one barrel that really stood out, and I went, okay, this one's phenomenal. I wasn't impressed with the first time. I was thinking towards the end of that, I don't think we're going to find one that we're going to like, but then we found one, and I was like, okay, this is it by far. And then El Tesoro, we'll get those samples. We'll do that. I'll do that live, the barrel selection, and it'll be really cool. So... but make sure you subscribe and watch, and we'll have some fun. We'll have some interviews some great people that you can talk to, and it should be great. So, some other things that are going on. What's going on in the world today? So, you guys have any questions? First of all, ask away if you have questions about stuff you want to know about. I'll be doing another trip to Mexico here probably within the next few months. I'm going to be doing the single barrel selection with Cascaween when I'm there. But also looking at starting some new projects with some other producers and stuff, so that should be fun. I have some distilleries too that I've been invited to visit that we haven't talked about at all, so I'm looking forward to doing that. I'll do some video work there while I'm there so you guys can see the distillery and learn about the brand as well. And then I've been invited to go to some palenques and some vinatas. So we're going to go visit some other parts of Mexico and check in on some mezcals and some raicillas and some tabernas for raicillas and some sotolerias. So we're going to be doing some traveling in Mexico quite a bit. So we'll have some really good videos and content for you, and we'll even bring in some of the mezcal brand owners and stuff to talk about what they do. And I don't know if you guys heard, but Pasote was just recently purchased. The brand was purchased, so I need to check in. I know the owner, the guy that bought it. He's the same gentleman that the name of the company that bought it is Maguey Spirits. And I remember you all were bummed about Pasote leaving 1579, leaving El Pendillo. I don't know if there's plans on bringing it back or not, but the guy that bought it really knows agave and tequila. And so I want to talk to him and find out what his plans are going to be for it. But it's the same guy that owns Burrito Fiestero. So if you haven't tried Burrito Fiestero mezcals, you got to try them. They're really good. I recommend them. I've reviewed most of them. I have one bottle I still need to review. But Alejandro, he's been on here for an interview before. He's a really great guy. His company bought it. So Pasote, we may be seeing some changes with Pasote. So it may be, people should be talking about it again. It was good. I actually liked it at the new distillery still, but keep an eye out for that, and I'll keep you guys posted when I get some information on what's going to happen with Pasote and stuff. The Santa Leza 9-year extra añejo. that stuff's amazing. If you haven't picked up a bottle, I think we have one bottle left on Ferment and Still. It sold out quick. People, after they bought it, were coming back and buying more. But I think we're going to see if we can find any more. And if we can, we'll restock it. But if you can find a bottle out and about somewhere, grab a bottle of it. It's really good stuff. I was talking to the guy that brought the batch in and stuff, and he was one that I'd really tasted it before he brought it in. I was able to sample it, and it was like, wow, this stuff's amazing. So, but the Santaleza brand, they didn't make it. They just found a batch that was made 9 years ago from a now defunct distillery, because the distillery lost their nom because they weren't producing anything, because the owners got sick. I talked about that in my video review of it. But the Santaleza has come out with a 3-year extra añejo, and I'll be getting a bottle of that to do a review and let you guys know about it. So we'll be getting more Santaleza stuff. I've got this Cierto, was it the Private Reserve, the new one? I got bottles of that. I'll be doing reviews of that one, so look for that. What else do I got? I got a bunch of stuff coming up. I just did the Siembra Alteña review. I'm working on getting a bottle of G4 108 XM, so I think he's going to be able to get me a bottle of that to do a review, so I'll let you guys know about that. And then I've got like 8 different bottles of G4 108 over here. And it may be fun to just do kind of like a comparison against like 8 different lotes from G4. I have a massive amount of G4 over here, this ridiculous amount. I have a full shelf dedicated to G4. So I have the 5-year extra añejo over here. I got the 55-month. I got the añejo, the repo. I even think some of them are from batch 1, the first batch to come in from G4. So we'll do some fun things with that stuff as well. So look for the Instagram videos where I'll talk about bottles and stuff and give you guys some background on some of this stuff that I have as well. All right, any questions or anything? Was it Woodford and Donnie? Was it? Yeah, that's part of this. It's the single barrel we're doing for the Tequila Barrel and Agave Collective. So it's an exclusive for the Tequila Barrel and Agave Collective. I tasted a barrel when I was there at the distillery and said, I want this barrel. Please give me this barrel. And we arranged it. So we're getting it as a single barrel, not diluted, high proof, cast strength. So it's amazing. It's so good. It was perfection. And that was just coming out of the barrel. So I tasted it. We actually thiefed it out of the barrel, used the thief and pulled it out of the barrel. And it was so good. Just imagine what it's going to be like when it has a chance to rest outside of the barrel. So this stuff's going to be ridiculously good. But so is the double Madeira, Carrera, and well, everything so far that the 2 Blancos have been amazing, and everything's really good. So get the Ferment and Still and try it, seriously. And then you can pick up, if you want to try one of each, and then that covers the shipping. So don't worry about it. The shipping, is $19.99. So if you get 5 bottles, it's $4 a bottle for shipping, which is nothing. So go try it. Seriously. Don't let people convince you otherwise. And don't miss out on it, because it's really good stuff. So I'm open for questions. You guys have questions, ask away. I'm here to answer them for you. If you haven't already, go subscribe to the Hombre Cave channel too on YouTube, because we're gonna be I'm posting some winemaking videos. You can see the processes of making wine, but I'll be posting some other content stuff there as well, and actually doing live streams from my Hombre Cave downstairs. I set up a studio there. So I'll do live streams from there as well, because I can actually enjoy a good stogie when I'm down there. How's Código Rosa? Código Rosa is not good. I do not recommend it. It's really like rough. I'm not a fan. If you want a good Rosa, there's Dos Angeles Caídos is probably the best Rosa on the market. Try that one. Código is a no-go for me. It's really hot and not good. Actually, a lot of their stuff, I think the place where Código really shines is with their extra age stuff, their extra añejos and their añejos and stuff. That's where they shine. Their Blanco and Rosa and the lighter age stuff, it's too hot. It's not good. Excuse my allergies and stuff. The winds have been blowing here in Southern California, which I'm sure you've been hearing about the fires. But the winds blow, the Santa Ana winds blow down here. It kicks your allergies in pretty bad, and the winds just picked up again tonight. So, really bad. Agreed. The nose kind of reminded you of Luchador. Well, Luchador is amazing. Luchador is really good, but the Código taste. I drink Luchador all the time. I love Luchador. The Repo is amazing. Añejo is great as well. And there is a extra Añejo in the works too. So I'm still waiting for information from David Ravandi on that. I'm sure he'll message me and give me information. I'll get a bottle to review too when it's ready. But he is working on an extra Añejo for it, along the lines of Diablito, but something completely different for El Luchador. And I'm interested to hear what the name's going to be too, because I know he said he wants to come up with a interesting name for it. So subscribe here and I'll keep you posted on when the David Ravandi Extra Añejo El Luchador kind of product going to be coming out. So it's going to let it age for a while, I'm sure. So I need some bourbon-friendly aged tequilas. Can you tell me if Azuñia Black, Insolito Añejo, and Don Pilar Extra Añejo are worth it? Azuñia Black is, for me, it's over-oaked. It's too much wood. I don't like it because there's not enough tequila agave, in it. It's Insolito, I'm not a fan of, and Don Pilar is definitely worth it. I have a bottle of Don Pilar Extra Añejo. It's really good. You want bourbon friendly aged tequilas? Look at El Tesoro. It's Beam Suntory. They use Jim Beam barrels for that. Good stuff. I don't know if you heard. Don Abraham is really good too because, I'm getting a Woodford Reserve barrel from them that's aged in Woodford Reserve, but they mostly what they age in is bourbon barrels. And they make pretty good tequila, really enjoyable tequila. You can find Don Abraham all over the place. Same with El Tesoro, since it's Beam Suntory owns it, it's all over the place. Arete's good. Ocho's good. It's bourbon barrel aged as well. Trying to think of what else is bourbon barrel aged that would be good that you can find everywhere. Carrera Añejo is bourbon barrel aged, and the Repo too. Casa San Matias, if you look at like the expressions from them, it's owned by the what is it, the Corazon de Agave. That brand is owned by Sazerac. So it's all their Sazerac's all the Sazerac's bourbon stuff. So you can get, was it Eagle Rare, Blanton's, all kinds of bourbons that they do, except for Pappy. So they did, when they first came out with Expressions, they actually had a Pappy barrel and they did it, but then they were kind of slapped by Pappy and said, don't use our barrels anymore. So they don't use them anymore. So those are the ones that I'd recommend checking out. What about Insolito? I'm not a fan of Insolito, so I wouldn't recommend Insolito. When I tried it, I wasn't impressed. If you want a good extra Neo that's inexpensive and stuff, look at Don Abraham. Don Pilar extra Neo is good too. Or even El Tesoro extra Neo. Their extra Neo is really good. You want a really good extra Neo, want to spend some extra money on it. Ocho's extra Neo that just came out this year is good. There's a lot of good extra Neos out there that are bourbon barrel aged. Even G4. G4's Dickel barrels. So pick up a G4 Añejo or extra Añejo if you can find them, or their Repo. Those are all bourbon barrel aged as well. So those are bourbon friendly aged tequilas. You want to see a review on what? Insolito? Look up my reviews. I did a review on Insolito. Oh, Ocho's. Oh, the Ocho extra Añejo. Yeah, I'll get a bottle. I'm talking to him about getting me a bottle. I'll do a review on it. I did a bottle. Their single barrel Añejo that I just recently reviewed was amazing too, and that's only $129. That one was really good. And I'm going to talk to Ocho about letting us do a barrel pick. I think that'd be great. Yeah, Espolón's aged on, but Espolón's not a good quality tequila. It used to be better than it is now, but Espolón's not in the same league as the ones that I've been talking about. If you're looking for inexpensive stuff like Espolón, then I would go with Orete or even like Cascaween's baseline stuff. Because that Cascaween, they all the barrels they use, they're like 20, 30 years old. So, but they use Wild Turkey and and other whiskeys and stuff too. It's not necessarily bourbon, but there's a lot of good bourbon aged stuff. Or you can do it yourself. Buy a Blanco and age it yourself. This is check this thing out. This thing's a monster. This is 10-year open air French oak, open air seasoned French oak. Look how dark that is. So it's medium toast on it, or medium toast. But 10-year open air seasoned French oak. Look how dark this tequila's got. This was a Blanco tequila when I put the stave in it. You can see the stave in the middle. See it? Look how dark. So it's been in here for probably 5 months so far. So I'm going to keep letting it go. I didn't season it on anything, but look how dark that is. Look at that. Doesn't it look great? Look at that. So that should be really good. Looking forward to that. If Cierto lowered their prices, it'd be your daily drinker. The XAs, yeah, the XAs, all their stuff's really good. So I've got I think, what is it? The Private Reserve, I think, is the one that is the special one. I've got all of them from the, so I will do reviews on those. But there's a reason why they're not lower priced, and it's because these are special age stuff from 1146. So no, that's not the case. Cierto's not expensive due to hype and marketing. Cierto's expensive because of the special barrels that they're getting from Enrique Fonseca. These barrels have been aging for a while in his private barrel room there at the distillery. He's doing some good stuff there. They're getting some high quality stuff. That's why it's expensive. If you really want something good, then no, I disagree. I disagree. Tears of Llorona is a big hype thing, but I disagree because there's not much agave to be found in Tears of Llorona. It's mostly Scotch, sherry, and Scotch, sherry, and I'm trying to remember the third one. I always draw a blank on not cognac, but what's the wine? Why can't brandy? Scotch, cognac, or Scotch, brandy, and sherry is what you taste in that. Let me show you what if you want really good extra nail. If you want really good, then this is the one to look for right here. Tapatio Excelencia. This is the bottle to look for. And you can find it for a really reasonable price. Like I got these for $159. That's the bottle you want to look for, not Tears of Llorona. Let me see. You really want something? Expressions is aged in the Buffalo Trace Antique Collection barrels. I think the Thomas Handy barrel aged in Yeho is very good, but then the rye whiskey barrels, not bourbon. Yeah, they're aged in different Buffalo Trace. I actually have a Buffalo Trace Expressions from when they first launched it back in 2013. So I have a bottle of that still, but they did Thomas Handy, they did Buffalo Trace, I think they did Eagle Rare too, and they did a Pappy, Rip Van Winkle. And I think there might have been one more, but I'm not sure. But every year they've been changing them, and they just came out with a Weller this year that it's up on ferment still now. I haven't tried it yet, but I understand it's really good. But I think I might talk to them. They're supposed to get me a sample bottle. Matter of fact, they have one for me. So I'll be doing a review of that one as soon as I get it. I know the rep who's supposed to get it to me has been sick, so he said as soon as he gets over his sickness, he'll get it to me. So I'll have a bottle of that to review. So the Weller one that came out this year, the Expression is supposed to be pretty good. Don't say the T word and F word in here. What's the tears? What's the F word? I don't know. See? Oh yeah, okay. I went off on the Tears of Llorona. Yes, I agree. Tears is definitely a Scotch drinker's XA. Definitely. Yeah. What's your top three barrels? Top three for barrels when it comes to aging. I don't age in barrels. I use staves. So bbaging.com, you get your own aging staves and you can just put them in the bottle. I don't believe in barrels because the quality of the wood in the barrels is nothing compared to what the BB aging staves gives you. So if you go to bbaging.com, you can order staves from there. He has American and French oak and cherry and peach now, I think. Cherry works out pretty good. American and French work out really good. I get the medium toast on them, drop them in a bottle. They're round dowels. I ran out. But I use them for my wine. I actually had them send me some for the wine too, and I use them in my wine, and they're phenomenal. But it really makes a good aged tequila as well. I have a bunch of bottles I've aged. As a matter of fact, I still have some here, I think, too. Yeah, here. That's a repo. I got a bunch of bottles mixed in here that I aged, but it makes really great aged tequilas. You can make your own, and it's really good. And you can control how much wood and stuff you want in it because you just taste it every once in a while, taste it every week, and see where it's at. And then if you like it, pull out the stave and just let it sit. Let it sit for a week or two and let it meld, and then the flavor profiles come out great. So I don't use barrels. I use these staves for my own aging stuff. Altasora Mundial collection is usually whiskey drinker friendly too because the barrels. Yeah, it is. Yes, and they did Scotch. They did Lafroig, and they did another whiskey barrel, and then the Widow Jane ones are good too. The Widow Jane Repo and Añejo, which was it Heaven's Hill? I think that's the whiskey that they own now. The whiskey company that owns part of Ocho now. Heavenly Hill or Heaven Hill, something like that. I'm not a big whiskey drinker, so I don't know the names of all these whiskeys. But the Widow Jane stuff's really good as well. Just picked up Art Nom 1146 and Añejo. What's your love it? I love the Art Nom 1146. It's a great Añejo. Enrique Fonseca does things right. He does. Where can you find Tapatio XA? Right now, I don't know. What I would recommend doing is going to some of the Googling it online, going to the stores that are out of stock on it and putting your email in and getting notified when they're back in stock, because they release small batches of it every once in a while. Because what Carlos explained to me, what he does is like they did a second batch where they did a big batch and they put them in, they rest it in 5-gallon carboys. And so what they do is they have all these 5-gallon carboys filled with Tapatio Extra Añejo and Excelencia. And then what they do is they'll pull a couple carboys, bottle it, they bottle a few of them, and then send them out as a bottling batch. So they have a whole bunch. They're still on batch 2, I believe. And so they just release a certain amount of bottles every so often. So you just have to look to see when they show up in the stores. But yeah, Mexico has them. Yeah, Helios is right. Mexico has them because people there won't spend money on expensive bottles of tequila typically. William LaRue, Weller, Stag, and Old Charter French Oak, I think. Yep. No, the Weller one is a big one right now. That they're getting me a bottle of that to do a review on it. How would an infinity bottle turn out with tequila, assuming you went with keeping ages together, añejos, repos? I'm sure it'd be fine. There's a bunch of people that do infinity bottles that they enjoy. I haven't done an infinity bottle, but what I did is I did take a bunch of samples that I had and put them into a decanter and blended them together. And then what I'm going to do is just drink all of it. I'm not going to keep putting more stuff into it. So, but I know some people that do infinity bottles with their tequila stuff and they enjoy it. So it's all just a matter of making sure that you're putting stuff in there that's not going to ruin everything else, Stay on top of what tequilas you're putting into it. But I know there's several people I know that do infinity bottles and they like it. They just keep filling up a bottle with stuff that gets low and keeping their tequila and aged tequila going. It doesn't even have to be. See, what a lot of people don't understand is Repo, Añejo, and Extra Añejo has nothing to do with flavor. There's no set flavor profile for a Repo, Añejo, and Extra Añejo. It's just amount of time aging. That's all it is. And by the rules in Mexico, I can take Extra Añejo and bottle it and call it a Repo if I want. I can call anything older something younger. So let me show you a little something that happened a while back. For those that have been drinking tequila for a while, you know about this, but let me explain something to you. Hold on. This is an old school bottle from Siembra Azul, which, is David Suro's bottle. Now, I don't remember if it was the 12 or the 10. I think it was the 12. But they did it in both of them, the 10 and the 12-year anniversary. This Siembra Azul bottle, it says Reposado on it, but it is a blend of Extra Añejo and Añejos. There's no Reposado in this. But this was David Suro's. He called it a gift to tequila lovers. And his way of thumbing his nose at the rules from the CRT, kind of going like neener type of thing, Because the rules in the CRT say you can call an older spirit something younger. So you can call it an Añejo a Repo, or you can call an Extra Añejo a Repo. But you can't call a Repo an Extra Añejo. So if you can call it older, younger, all the way down to, you can't do Blanco. So you can't call a Repo a Blanco. That's where the line's drawn. But I can call any of the aged or rested expressions. As long as it's older, I can call it a younger one. So if I had an Extra Añejo, I wanted to call it an Añejo, I can call it an Añejo. If I have an Extra Añejo, I want to call it a Repo, I can call it a Repo. So it has nothing to do with flavor profile or anything. It just has to do with time in the barrel. That's all it is. So everyone goes, yeah, maybe I don't like Reposados. No, maybe you just don't like that Reposado that you tried. But there's a lot of other Reposados out there that may be better suited for you. So don't categorize when you try something, I don't like Reposados, or I'm only going to put Reposados and Añejos together. No, they're all the same. Just how much time they spent in a barrel. That's all. The rules are Repos from 2 months up to a year. Añejos at a year up to 3 years. Extra Añejos is 3 years and above. But if I had something in a barrel for 4 years, 5 years, and I wanted to call it a Repo, I could bottle it as a Repo if I wanted and sell it to you as a Repo. And you'll be going, like, damn, this is a strong Repo. Yeah. Because that Reposado spent 4 years in a barrel. So it doesn't matter. You can call older stuff younger stuff. Now, if you take any of those older things and mix it with the Blanco, it's called a Joven. So we're starting to see more things happening with Jovens. And I think we're going to start seeing a trend where more people are going to be doing Jovens. Because Jovens, you can do more engineering with the flavor profiles without using additives. By taking aged tequila and mixing it with Blancos and kind of diluting it down until you get the flavor profile that you're looking for. So one example is, where is it? Do I have it here? Yeah, here. Dos Artes, Dia de los Muertos, Dos Artes used to be an additive brand. And they still do some additive stuff. But this is out of 1588, which is El Mexicano. And It is an amazing Hoven. It's really good. So after I tried this and did the review, I sent my link to the review to Leon Benuelos, the guy that makes it, and said, wow, this Hoven, you really did a good job. And he responded back and goes, yeah. He goes, that Hoven turned out amazing. And I'm like, yeah, it's really good. And he goes, I think it's one of the most underappreciated, underrepresented expressions in tequila world. And I tend to agree with you. And you're seeing more brands coming out with Hovens now in the tequila world. And I think that's going to be the next thing that, high proof Blancos were like the thing. And I think we're going to start seeing more brands doing Hoven things where they're blending barrels with the Blanco and really coming up with some really nice flavored profiles and stuff for them. And the nice thing is they can change it every batch. It doesn't have to be the same. So they can call it Hoven 1, Hoven 2, Hoven 3, Hoven 4. And then every time they do a batch of Hoven, they can come out with something really completely different, make it a limited edition batch, and, drive people crazy looking for it. So I wouldn't be surprised if you see like G4 Hoven coming up here sometime soon, where there's only, 500 bottles coming out and everyone's screaming and clamoring over each other, trying to get a bottle of G4 Hoven because it's different. Every batch can be different because they blend them themselves. Think about that. I think we're going to see a move towards doing some Hovens. So, let's see, where were we? How soon will Ferment still stock the 5-year Galindo XA? I miss it. Great stuff. It's done. They're not making Galindo anymore. I still have it. You're talking about Galindo V, right? Yeah. Here we go. You're talking about this, right? Right, Pedro? Galindo V? Galindo 5? That's good. That's good stuff. I bought several bottles of it, just restocked on it when I found out that they're done. It's not being produced anymore. The guy that owned that brand had a tragic accident with a helicopter. So it's pretty much done. When you're right, the 1146 Añejo is delicious. Sipping now while enjoying your knowledge. Oh, good. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Happy Thursday. Sipping on Viva Mexico. Yes! Wishing all my friends on the West Coast safe. Thank you very much, Rick. Glad you're enjoying that Viva Mexico High Proof. What do you think? What's your opinion on the Viva Mexico High Proof? Was it as good as I say it is? Tim Razul's got me into tequila years ago. It was their 10-year anniversary bottle. Delicious. I have the 10-year and I have the 12-year. The 10 years in there as well. We need to tour your tequila room. What an impressive. Well, thank you. Yeah, I'm going to be doing like a what's this bottle kind of thing on Instagram. So follow on Instagram, and you'll see some of the weird eclectic bottles, like this one right here that I have, which is the Milagro Romance. It's right there. That's actually a bottle with Repo on the outside and Añejo in the inside. It's got like these bulbs in the middle that have Añejo in it, and then the outside of the bulbs is Repo, and it's all in one bottle, and they have two spouts. So you can pour the Repo out or you can pour the Añejo out. So I'll show that bottle and do a little talk about that one. There's some other cool things in here in the collection that I'll show you guys. You're on your second bottle if that says anything. Yes. That says you like it, which is good. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Excuse me. Yes, Galinda V. Yeah. It's not being made anymore, my friend. Sorry. Otherwise they'd stock it at Ferment Still. Do you ever feel like every tequila starts feeling? Yes, actually I do. It gets to be that way for a while. And I think a lot of people do, but they don't consciously think about that because everyone's always asking me, what about this tequila? What about this tequila? And it's like they're always like looking to try another new tequila coming out because they think they're going to discover something different and something new. It's kind of the feeling that I get sometimes, but they're not. So if you want to experience something new, jump at the mezcals. You don't have to get smoky mezcals. That's one of the things I tried to do with introducing like the Paradas y Patria, Paradas y Quis Patria, or however he says it. That stuff's like brings tequila to a whole new level because it's basically Weber Blue Agave, but it's made ancestrally, like really good ancestral tequila was made. That's still available on Ferment Still. You want to kind of test your palate a little bit and jump into something different? Try that. That stuff's amazing. And everybody that's tried it has come back and said, yes, oh my God, it's so good. That and the temporada de lluvia, La Luna as well, which is also Weber Blue Agave. But it brings it to a whole new different level, and it's got pomegranate. It's a pomegranate pechuga. So it's really different too, and we'll test your palate and kind of give you something different to sip on, but it's still basically ancestral tequila, but not by specifications, not by the rules. But it's produced the exact same way as really good ancestral tequila would be produced. But yeah, I feel like, and that's one of the reasons why we came out with the Carrera 54 when I worked out that flavor profile with them, is because it's not like every other tequila out there. It's super, and that's one of the things that I think threw a lot of people off when they tried it, is it doesn't taste like the semi-bland, kind of boring tequila stuff that's out there. It's super rich with cooked agave, like more agave than what you're used to normally in tequila, and that's one of the things I really liked about it. But I think it threw a lot of people off too. It's like, whoa, But the people that have ever been to a distillery and tasted cooked agave out of the oven, they knew what was going on. Most of the people that had just been drinking tequila but never been to a distillery and never tasted agave coming out of the oven, cooked agave, they didn't understand it. So with the Carrera 54, basically the batch 1, the batch at Ferment and Still, tastes like bottled cooked agave. It's so rich in cooked agave. It's so amazing with not a lot of fermentation notes. Instead, it's just mostly agave notes. It threw a lot of people for a loop because it was something completely different. Do you ever spend time with other spirits if tequila starts to feel that way? I switched to Scotch and cold weather. It was a nice change. Tequila is always number one, though. I don't switch to other spirits, but what I've been doing, and I've talked about this earlier, is I'm actually making red wine. And so I've really been enjoying drinking red wine. And then, I can enjoy more of it without getting trashed. But tequila and mezcal and agave spirits are the only spirits I have. I don't do anything else. But I have been making wine, and I've made some really good wines. So give you an example of what kind of wines I've been making. I have a Cabernet Sauvignon I just bottled, which turned out amazing. I harvest those grapes from down here in the Temecula Valley myself. I put a video up on the Hombre Cave channel where you can go see where we're driving out to harvest the grapes. And then I show you how I made it. I did that. I did a Sangiovese wine with Sangiovese grapes that I harvested myself. You can see that video up there as well. I did a Syrah, which I went down into the Ramona area, which is San Diego AVA down here, and picked those grapes. You can see that video on the Hombre Cave channel as well. I did a Petite Syrah with some frozen must that I ordered from Livermore from the Bay Area, Northern California, up by Napa. And I did a Merlot from there as well. And when I did a Merlot, I did it in 2 batches of Petite Syrah from there. And they have Cabernet and Sangiovese, but since I already did those from grapes down here, I didn't do those. But you can see frozen must. You can order them from these guys up in the Bay Area. They'll ship them all around the country. But if you want to learn how to make wine, you can actually watch these videos, and you can learn how to do it. But tequila was called vino de mezcal before it was called tequila, which is wine of the mezcal. It's basically, it's been blowing me away how similar it is to make wine as it is to make tequila. Up to distillation, right? Distillation is the thing that really kind of sets them apart. So let's look at them. Wine must is 80% fructose, 20% glucose. Tequila must is 80% fructose, 20% glucose. Same. The starches in the grapes get converted by the sun, where you have to cook them in ovens or autoclaves or whatever to convert them in the starches in agave. You press the grapes to get the sugars and stuff out, or you don't press them to start. You crush them. You crush the grapes to get the sugars and stuff out to start the fermentation. You crush the fibers to get the sugars out to do fermentation. A lot of the yeast that you use for wine are wine yeasts. A lot of yeast you use for tequila are wine yeasts. They use champagne yeast and other wine yeast for that. Wine yeast work the best. Or they'll use natural yeast, which you can use natural yeast for grapes as well. And then you ferment it. So it's practically identical through there. And I've actually found out by talking to some of the master distillers that they also make wine. And they're familiar with winemaking techniques. Some of them are. A lot of them aren't. A lot of them are just doing it the way their grandfathers and their fathers taught them. But so some of the things that I want to do is take what I've learned making wine and bring that into the tequila world for some of the projects that I want to do. So I've been really enjoying that. And then I find out, but with the complexity and stuff you can get from different reds, it actually helps improve your palate for tasting notes and stuff. And I know Chris was talking about, he's gotten into red wines too. I'm sure he can agree with me on that. The wine hombre, yeah, no, I'm just going to stay the tequila hombre, but the wine stuff has been a lot of fun. Learned a lot. I was a national champion home brewer before for beer, so I understood fermentation and studied fermentation stuff. But when I transitioned into wine, it's a lot different. You have to leave a lot of the stuff that you thought you knew about, from beer aside, because you don't do the same stuff for wine. Did you get a chance to try the Lalo High Proof, the Release 54, not the early 55? What did you think? I haven't picked up the 54. No. I'm waiting. They said they're going to send me a bottle, so they haven't sent me a bottle yet. Do you have a video on your background story getting into the tequila world? I feel like you have some stories. I do have stories to tell, but I save them for you guys. I don't want to do a video on it. I'd rather you guys ask me about it. I can tell you my stories. I can tell you all kinds of stories. And I'd rather share them with you here while we're just having some fun, doing a live stream, talking about all different kinds of agave spirits, all different kinds of things. And then, of course, we got Monday, my Ohio State Buckeyes gonna win the Natty, baby. Now, I know there's probably some Notre Dame fans in here. Oh, didn't know you were a Buckeyes fan. Right here, it's like,
I didn't know you were a Buckeyes fan. Oh, gross. Oh, yuck, yuck.
share a story? What kind of story do you want me to share? We got a little bit of time left. What kind of story do you want me to tell you? Think of something that you want me to tell you a story about, and I'll give you a story. I have all kinds of great stories. You want to know about my beer producing? My national championship? For my national championship, I won a gold medal in the National Homebrew Championships. And it's called the NHC, the National Homebrew Competition. I won a gold medal for a beer that I made that everyone said it was impossible to make. Oh, tequila related. Okay. You want something tequila related. Or just fun in Mexico. Okay. All right. Let me see. Tequila related. Oh, what's a fun tequila related story? So many. Let me see. What kind of story do I want to tell you? Tequila related. Trying to think. There's so many funny stories, but I don't want to say something that's going to get me in trouble. Okay, I'll tell you what. I'll come up with a story, but next week on Thursday at 6:30, I'll tell you the story. Because it's kind of long, so it's going to take me longer than I want to spend. I'm going to wrap things up here around 8 o'clock. So, I'll tell you a funny tequila story next Thursday. So make sure you tune in next Thursday for a funny tequila story. Well, now you're invested in the gold medal. Okay, I'll tell you the gold medal story. So everyone said you can't do this beer. It's not possible. And if you try to do it, you're going to make a mess. And it's going to cause problems, and it's not going to taste good. And that involved using pumpkin. So I wanted to make a Christmas beer. And so I wanted to make a beer that I could give to all of my friends, my neighbors and stuff. Because I used to make beer in my garage, and on the weekends I would normally go out and make beer. And so what happens is every time I opened up my garage door, all my neighbors were standing around my garage door with mugs in their hands going, "What's on tap?" Because I always kept my homebrew stuff on tap in the garage, and I just turned the taps on, and they'd come in and they'd pour themselves some beer, and we would sit and smoke cigars while I would make beer. And a lot of times they would help me with doing the labor and making stuff. So I was told, like, you can't make a beer using pumpkin. It's literally impossible using fresh, real pumpkin. And I'm like, okay, well, I don't like being told I can't do anything. And those of you that know me know what I'm like and know that I love pissing off people that tell me I can't do anything because they don't know me. So I went to work. And what I ended up doing is finding a special kind of pumpkin called a Cinderella pumpkin. And I ended up baking it in my oven at like 225 degrees, roasting it. And getting it so it's sweat, so that all the nice oils and stuff came out of the pumpkin, and then mixed it up and put it in with the mash. So it was in with different types of barley and two-row barley and other different kinds of roasted barleys and stuff that were going to give me the flavor profile that I needed. I was making a Belgian Saison, which is a lighter kind of ale beer. It's a really light, crisp beer. So I did the mash on it, and the pumpkin smell was great. So I was like, okay, this is working. It didn't clog the mash up at all. It didn't gelatinize everything like everyone said it was going to. And it worked. So then during the boil, when boiling it, you get to boil for about 90 minutes, get the hops all going and everything in it. So when I'm boiling it, I'm throwing in nutmeg, cinnamon, and cloves into the boil. I wasn't even measuring it. I was just throwing handfuls in of stuff. I'm like, okay, let's throw these cloves in. Let's throw this nutmeg in, and let's throw the cinnamon in. And then when it finished, it smelled like Christmas in my garage. I'm like, okay, this smells really good. So then fermented it. After it got done fermenting, we went to secondary fermentation on it. And it's smelling really good at this point. So I'm like, okay, this smells really good. Carbonated it, put it in a keg, tasted it, and was like, okay, to me, this tastes really great. So then I bottled it in these tall, like 1 liter bottles, because I was going to give it as Christmas gifts for all my neighbors. And I went out and I gave the bottles all out. And this is the first time that they've ever done that. But after I gave all the bottles out, it was probably 2 weeks before Christmas. Every one of the neighbors that I gave a bottle that to came by my house and knocked on the door and asked for another bottle and said they would actually buy it. That's the first time. Normally they're like, yeah, that stuff was good. What do you got going on now? They came back and said, it was like a parade to my front door. Who's that? It's Frank. And hey, Frank, what's going on? Hey, that beer you gave us this year for Christmas? Yeah. Could I buy some from you? I'm like, what? No, we don't sell. I don't sell it. I need another bottle or two. I'm like, so I ended up giving it all away before I could really enjoy it. So I said, okay, I kept 2 bottles and I entered into the National Homebrew Competition. It won gold medal in the regionals, gold medal in the semifinals, all the way up to gold medal in nationals. It went straight all the way through. It was so good. I was invited by Sierra Nevada to come brew a batch of beer on their pilot plant. And so we actually went up to Chico, California and brewed a batch of beer on Sierra Nevada's pilot plant. And they actually released it in kegs for on-prem premises. And it was called the Golden Ticket Baltic Porter. And it was me and a group of other people that won gold medals for the National Homebrew Competition. And we set like 5 records at Sierra Nevada for the first ever to do certain things there. And the beer turned out great. And my neighbors would come over after they released the beer. I bought a keg. I had my local shop order a keg of it, and I bought a keg, kept it on tap, and all my neighbors would come over and drink the beer that I made at Sierra Nevada on their pilot system. So didn't want to sidetrack me, huh? Want to know about, now you know about the beer. So it was a Belgian Saison, pumpkin spiced Belgian Saison. If you go to the National Homebrew Competition website and you go back to 2009 and look under category 22, I believe it is 22 or 23, you'll see my name, Mark Cherney, listed as the gold medal winner in that category for that year. So NHC National Homebrew Competition website. That's for the homebrew .org, I think, is the website. It's the homebrew club. I had my own homebrew club that I formed. We had 130 members at one point. It was called Fear No Beer. So that was fun. So that was my first, really when I first developed a love for fermentation was when I was brewing beer and making beer. And then, of course, I was always smoking cigars when I was doing that. So I still, to this day, love a good cigar. JD! Go Buckeyes! I just showing everybody my Ohio State shirt. Go Buckeyes. JD knows I used to live in Cincinnati. Amazing. Good story, right? Yeah. You're welcome. And yeah, it was super delicious. I haven't brewed beer in a long time because out here, I moved from Orange County to Riverside, and out here it just gets way too hot. So instead I do wine. And wine happens mostly in the winter. The harvest season starts about August for grapes. So I can do it in the garage. I've got stuff right now that's going through malolactic fermentation in the garage. And that's too, malolactic fermentation happens with tequila too, if you're not careful. So there's a lot of things that are similar between wine and beer. And so I'm learning kind of about how to do things better with tequila production. Not wine and beer, wine and tequila. Learning about doing things better with tequila production through experiencing wine. So, and all the bottles of wine that I have, I'm just giving away to friends and family. And so all my neighbors I have a couple of neighbors across the street. This is a funny story. Just another funny story real quick. Neighbors across the street are some young ladies that live there with their mom. They're all, in their probably mid to late 20s, early 30s. I gave them some bottles of wine because they came over and asked me what I was doing when I was out there making wine, and I told them to make wine. So they're like, oh, that sounds interesting. So I gave them some bottles of wine, and they came back and said, oh my God, your wine is so good. We're really enjoying it over here. And it was during trick-or-treating. So I said, here, have some more. So I gave them some more bottles. And so I give the bottles away to all the friends and family members and stuff, all my neighbors. They ended up getting tanked. And so we're sitting across the street listening to them giggle and stuff and having the greatest time, all kind of snookered on wine. So it was kind of fun. So I love keeping my neighbors drunk and happy and on my wine, and I enjoy drinking it myself. And so if you follow me on Facebook, you can see I post some of the pictures of some of the stuff I've bottled and stuff on my Facebook profile. But I'm going to be posting a lot more stuff about the winemaking on the Hombre Cave channel. So make sure you go over and watch the Hombre Cave channel, because I'm actually going to be doing some live streams from the garage too, where I'm out there working on wine stuff that you can watch too from there and learn about some of these other extracurricular stuff that I like to do to learn more about tequila and agave spirit production. More first trip to Mexico. Okay, I can do that. I can next week I'll talk about the first trip to Mexico and give you some stories on that. Okay. Great story. Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed the story. You live in Riverside, want to do I don't do trades. Sorry. Sorry. I don't trade things. I don't do trades. I don't sell stuff. My wines I give away. I have tequila friends come over and drink for free and try things, but I don't trade. I don't do that stuff. I'd like to know what's your top 3 XA tequilas under $200 that you recommend. Under $200, well, Tapatio Extra Añejo is good. There's so many. I can't come up with top 3. But the Santaleza 9-year Extra Añejo is amazing. That's probably one of my favorites right now. I bought a dozen bottles of it. I bought 12 bottles of it. What else? Extra Añejos. Well, San Matias Gran Reserva is great for $58.99. The 2 bottles that we have on Ferment and Still are easily $200 and something bottles. So, but they're $58.99. So I'm going to count those as amazing extrañejos. I'm going to give you a little tip about what kind of barrel they were actually aged in, but I can't really say it verbatim, but.
Oh yeah, baby. They were aged in special barrels. If you know, you know. So grab a bottle each of the Barrel 1 and Barrel 2 of the San Matias Gran Reserva on ferment still, and you could be getting something that'll make you sing, oh yeah, baby.
So that's, should be a little tip on that. And, that's it. I mean, I don't know about pricing, so I can't tell you if it's under $200, but those are good. G4XA is always delicious. And correct, I have done videos on extrañejos, so you can look. I've done them, yeah. So you can look, search the channel for extrañejo videos, and you can see ones that I've done where I think I've even done some that were budget extrañejos and stuff like that. So, all right, so it's 8:11, you guys. I'm going to wrap things up. Thank you so much for coming out and spending time with me. I really love talking to you guys. Make sure you click the thumbs up though and give me a like before you leave. Sharing my time with you here. Least you could do is just click that thumbs up and give me a like. What is my trade? Have I always been no, actually, I was a wedding and event DJ for 30 years. I have a degree in radio and television broadcasting. So I went to Chico State University and got a degree in radio and television broadcasting, worked in radio, worked in high-tech sales, doing computer and cellular stuff, internet, web design and internet security, and then got into wedding and event DJing too. Did that to really kind of use something my degree was. So I've always been in the beverage side of things. But that's it for tonight, guys. I'll answer more questions next week. So we'll hopefully see you 6:30 p.m. next Thursday. Have a great week, you guys. And then, like I always say, life is too short to drink bad tequila. So keep watching here. Make sure you subscribe. Come join us on the Discord. $10 a month. It's great to be part of the Tequila Barrel and Agave Collective. You'll get into some of these special stuff that we're putting together, these batches and buys. We'll have a lot of fun talking together too. The people ask me questions on there all the time. I always pretty open and share things on there, opinions and stuff. No one gets offended. So it's a great group. You get a lot of additional information. You can ask things like, what are your favorite extrañejos on there? And everyone will respond and tell you. That you can ask them, if they want to trade or whatever, and they can do it. They'll do it there. If they want. Discord's a great group. It's only $10 a month, and it supports what I do. I like keeping it where I'm unbiased on my reviews and honest, and that's the way it is. So, but like I always say, life is too short to drink bad tequila. So keep following me here. Keep watching my reviews and stuff. Follow what I advise you, and you'll be in great shape. Okay. Keep drinking the good stuff. Salute. Bye, guys.